Hello, and welcome to English with Zaaf. This is the place where you can improve your English by listening to interesting stories. Please sit back, relax, and listen carefully. I will speak slowly and clearly. Do not worry if you do not understand every word. Just keep listening. Every time you listen, your English becomes a little better. Now, let's begin today's story. Long ago, in a quiet and peaceful land, there lived a shepherd named Hassan. Hassan was not rich. He did not live in a big city. He lived far away from towns, deep in the countryside, where the land was wide, dry, and beautiful. Every morning, before the sun appeared over the hills, Hassan woke up. The air was cool. The sky was full of bright stars. His sheep were still sleeping. Slowly, Hassan stood up, washed his face with cool water, and looked across the open land. He smiled. "This is my home," he said quietly. Although life was difficult, Hassan loved the land. He knew every hill. He knew every tree. He knew every path through the desert. Many people believed the desert was empty. They thought nothing lived there. But Hassan knew the truth. The desert was full of life. He could see birds flying high in the sky. He could hear the wind moving through the grass. He could find water where other people saw only dry ground. Every day, Hassan walked many miles with his sheep. Sometimes the journey was easy. Sometimes it was dangerous. The sun became hot. The wind became strong. Dust filled the air. But Hassan never complained. He believed every difficult journey taught an important lesson. One afternoon, while the sheep were eating grass near a small hill, Hassan noticed something unusual. Far away, he saw a young traveler walking alone. The traveler looked tired. His clothes were dusty. His face showed fear. He had lost his way. Hassan slowly walked towards him. "Peace be with you," Hassan said kindly. The young man smiled with relief. "I've been walking for hours," he said. "I cannot find the road home." Hassan looked around. He smiled gently. "The desert is confusing," he said. "But if you stay calm, it will always show you the right path." The young traveler was surprised. "How can you know that?" he asked. Hassan looked towards the mountains. "I have lived here all my life," he replied. "The desert speaks quietly. Most people never stop long enough to listen." The young man followed Hassan. Together, they walked slowly across the land. As they walked, Hassan pointed to the stars, the rocks, and the direction of the wind. He explained how nature could guide a person when there were no roads, no signs, and no maps. The traveler listened carefully. For the first time, he understood that knowledge does not only come from books. Sometimes, the greatest teacher is experience. And sometimes, the wisest person is the one who lives a simple life. The sun was slowly moving across the sky. The day became warmer. The wind carried soft sand across the ground. Hassan and the young traveler continued walking together. For a long time, neither of them spoke. The only sounds were the footsteps of the sheep and the gentle wind. Finally, the young traveler broke the silence. "Hassan," he asked, "have you always lived here?" Hassan smiled. "Yes," he answered. "I was born in this desert. My father was a shepherd. My grandfather was also a shepherd. When I was a small boy, I walked beside my father every single day. He taught me everything I know." The traveler listened carefully. "What did he teach you?" he asked. Hassan looked towards the horizon. "He taught me patience. He taught me kindness. He taught me that nature is always speaking, but only patient people can hear its voice." The traveler thought about those words. He realized that he had always been in a hurry. He wanted everything quickly. He wanted quick success, quick answers, quick money. But Hassan lived differently. He believed that the best things in life take time. As they walked, they reached a small group of trees. There was fresh water beneath them. The sheep quickly gathered around the water. The traveler looked surprised. "I did not see this place before," he said. Hassan laughed softly. "That is because you were looking too far ahead. Sometimes the answer is right in front of us. You only need to slow down." The traveler drank the cool water. It tasted fresh and clean. He felt stronger. He thanked Hassan once again. That evening, the sky became orange and gold. The sun slowly disappeared behind the distant mountains. Soon, thousands of stars appeared above them. The traveler looked up with wonder. "I have never seen so many stars," he whispered. Hassan smiled. "In the city, people look at buildings. In the desert, we look at the sky. My father once told me that every star reminds us that the world is much bigger than our worries." The traveler remained silent. He realized that Hassan was not only a shepherd, he was also a wise teacher. Later that night, they built a small fire. Hassan prepared simple food: fresh milk, warm bread, and sweet dates. "It is not a rich meal," Hassan said, "but it is enough." The traveler smiled. "It is the best meal I have had in a long time." As the fire burned quietly, Hassan began telling stories about the desert. Stories of brave travelers, stories of lost caravans, stories of people who survived because they never lost hope. The traveler listened with great interest. He forgot about his fear. He forgot about his tired feet. All he wanted was to hear the next story. Hassan looked at the young man and smiled. "You came here looking for a road," he said. "But perhaps you were really looking for wisdom." The traveler nodded slowly. "I think you are right. Today, I have learned more than I learned in many years." Hassan looked up at the stars. "Learning never ends," he said. "Tomorrow, the desert will teach us another lesson." And with that, the two men sat quietly beside the fire, watching the stars shine brightly above the endless desert. The night was peaceful, the wind was gentle, and a new adventure was waiting for them with the next sunrise. The next morning, Hassan woke up before sunrise. The air felt different. The desert was unusually quiet. There were no birds singing. Even the sheep seemed nervous. Hassan looked at the sky. A thin wall of dust appeared on the horizon. He took a deep breath. "A sandstorm is coming," he said calmly. The young traveler looked around with fear. "A sandstorm?" he asked. "Yes," Hassan replied. "The desert is changing. We must prepare before it reaches us." Without wasting time, Hassan gathered the sheep. He tied them together with long ropes. Then he covered his face with a light cloth. The traveler copied everything Hassan did. The wind became stronger. Small clouds of sand danced across the ground. The sky slowly turned yellow. Within minutes, the storm arrived. Powerful winds pushed the sand through the air. The sun disappeared behind the thick dust. It became difficult to see. The traveler could barely open his eyes. "I can't see anything!" he shouted. Hassan placed one hand on the traveler's shoulder. "Stay close to me," he said. "Never fight the desert. Move slowly. Stay calm." The storm continued for many hours. The wind roared like the sea. The sheep stayed together. Hassan never stopped watching them. Finally, as the afternoon came, the wind became weaker. The dust slowly settled. Little by little, the blue sky returned. The traveler smiled with relief. "We survived," he said. Hassan nodded. "The desert always tests us. But today, it also protected us because we respected its power." As they continued walking, Hassan suddenly stopped. He looked carefully at the ground. Fresh footprints crossed the sand, large footprints, camel footprints. Hassan followed them. Not far away, he found 3 camels wandering alone. The animals looked tired and thirsty. "There should be more," Hassan said quietly. "Camels never travel alone." Together, they searched the nearby hills. Soon, they heard distant voices carried by the wind. They climbed to the top of a rocky hill. In the distance, they saw a nomadic tribe. Large tents stood in a circle. Children were running between the tents. Women were preparing food over open fires. Men were searching across the desert with worried faces. One old man noticed Hassan. He quickly walked toward him. "Our camels disappeared during the sandstorm," the old man explained. "We have searched everywhere." Hassan smiled. "I think your search is over." He pointed toward the 3 camels standing peacefully behind the hill. The old man's face filled with joy. He thanked Hassan with tears in his eyes. "You have saved our family," he said. "Our camels carry our food, our water, and our future." The tribe welcomed Hassan and the young traveler into their camp. That evening, everyone gathered around a warm fire. Fresh camel milk was shared with every guest. Traditional songs filled the cool desert night. The traveler looked around with admiration. "I thought the desert was empty," he said. Hassan smiled. "The desert is full of life. It is full of families. It is full of friendship. And it is full of people who help one another." The fire burned brightly beneath the countless stars. The young traveler realized that every day in the desert was a new lesson, and Hassan knew that tomorrow would bring another adventure. The shepherd who knew the desert. The next morning, the desert was quiet once again. The wind was gentle. The sun slowly rose above the distant mountains. As everyone gathered for breakfast, an old woman from the tribe walked toward Hassan. She carried a small wooden box. The box looked very old. Its corners were worn by time. She carefully opened it. Inside was an ancient map. The paper was yellow and fragile. Strange symbols covered its surface. The young traveler looked at the map with surprise. "What is this?" he asked. The old woman smiled. "My grandfather gave this map to me many years ago," she said. "He told me it shows the way to a hidden well." "A hidden well?" the traveler repeated. "Yes," the old woman replied. "A well that has been forgotten for centuries. Many people searched for it, but no one ever found it." Before sunrise, Hassan quietly woke the others. "The map is not leading us by the land," he said. "It is leading us by the stars." The tribe leader looked surprised. The old woman smiled. "My grandfather once said the sky remembers what the earth forgets." Everyone packed their supplies. They waited until the last stars were still visible. Hassan studied the sky carefully. Then he pointed toward the northeast. "This is the way." The group followed him. They walked for hours across silent dunes. The morning sun grew hotter. By midday, they reached a circle of giant black rocks. The ancient map showed the same rocks. "We are close," Hassan whispered. They searched every corner. But there was no well, only sand. The young traveler sighed. "Maybe we came too late." Hassan shook his head. "No. The map has never been wrong." He looked around once more. Then he noticed something unusual. One rock had strange carvings. They matched the symbols on the map. Hassan placed his hand on the carving. Nothing happened. Then the old woman stepped forward. She gently turned a small stone hidden beside the rock. A deep rumbling sound echoed beneath the ground. The earth began to shake. Slowly. A narrow stone doorway appeared beneath the sand. Everyone stared in amazement. The air that rose from below was cool and fresh. "It has been sealed for centuries," the tribe leader whispered. Hassan picked up a torch. He looked into the darkness. Stone steps disappeared deep underground. "What lies below?" the traveler asked quietly. Hassan smiled. "We are about to find out." "Together?" They stepped into the ancient passage. Behind them, the stone doorway slowly began to close. The heavy stone door closed behind them. Darkness surrounded the group. Only Hassan's torch lit the ancient passage. The walls were covered with old carvings. Some showed camels crossing the desert. Others showed people looking up at the stars. The young traveler gently touched one of the carvings. "It tells a story," he whispered. Hassan nodded. "It tells the story of the people who built this place." They walked deeper underground. The air became cooler. Soon, they heard a faint sound. Drip. Drip. "Water," one of the camel riders said excitedly. They followed the sound. At the end of the passage, they entered a huge underground chamber. In the middle of the chamber was a clear pool of fresh water. The hidden well had finally been found. Everyone stood in silence. The tribe leader knelt beside the water. He thanked God for the miracle. The old woman smiled with tears in her eyes. "My grandfather was telling the truth," she said softly. As they filled their water bags, Hassan noticed something unusual. Behind the well stood a large stone door. A strange symbol was carved into it. It was the same symbol that appeared at the center of the ancient map. "There is more," Hassan said. He walked toward the door. The young traveler followed him. Together, they pushed with all their strength. Slowly, the stone door opened. Inside was a hidden room. Gold and silver were scattered across the floor. Ancient books rested on dusty shelves. Beautiful jewels sparkled in the torchlight. But Hassan's eyes stopped on one object, an old leather book. He carefully picked it up. On the first page were the words, "The greatest treasure is not hidden beneath the earth. It is hidden in the wisdom we choose to protect." Before anyone could speak, a deep rumbling sound shook the chamber. Dust fell from the ceiling. The ancient ruins were beginning to collapse. Hassan quickly closed the book. "We must leave now," he shouted. The group grabbed what they could and ran toward the passage. Behind them, the ceiling continued to crack. Would they escape before the ruins buried the secret forever? The ground shook harder. Large stones crashed from the ceiling. "Run!" Hassan shouted. The group hurried through the narrow passage. Dust filled the air. It became difficult to breathe. The young traveler stumbled. Before he could fall, Hassan grabbed his arm. "Don't stop," Hassan said. Together they kept moving. Behind them, the ancient chamber collapsed with a deafening roar. Finally, a small beam of sunlight appeared ahead. "The exit!" one of the camel riders cried. With one last effort, they rushed outside. As soon as they reached the desert, the hidden doorway disappeared beneath the sand once again. Silence returned. It was as if the ancient place had never existed. The tribe leader looked at Hassan. "You saved all of us." Hassan smiled. "The desert gave us a chance. We simply listened." Back at the camp, the tribe celebrated. For the first time in many years, they had a reliable source of fresh water. No family would suffer from thirst again. That evening, Hassan opened the old leather book. Its pages contained the knowledge of the ancient desert people. It explained how they found water by studying the stars, the wind, and the land. It also contained one final message. If you have found this book, another journey is waiting for you. Beyond the great red dunes lies a place no map can show. Only those with courage, wisdom, and kindness will find it. Everyone fell silent. The young traveler looked at Hassan with a smile. "So, our adventure isn't over?" Hassan closed the book and looked toward the glowing red horizon. "No. I think it has only just begun. Far away, beyond the endless dunes." A mysterious figure watched them from the top of a hill. Then, without a word, the stranger disappeared into the desert wind. The first light of dawn spread across the desert. A cool breeze carried the scent of fresh water from the hidden well. For the first time in many years, the tribe woke without fear of running out of water. Children laughed as they filled clay jars. The elders smiled with gratitude. Everyone knew that Hassan had changed their future forever. But Hassan's thoughts were somewhere else. He could not stop thinking about the final message in the ancient book. Beyond the great red dunes lies a place no map can show. The words echoed in his mind. After breakfast, the tribe gathered beneath the largest palm tree. The leader stood before everyone. "My friends," he began, "today we celebrate. But we must also decide what comes next." He turned toward Hassan. "You have already done more than anyone could ask. If you wish to return home, we will understand." Hassan looked across the endless desert. "I cannot leave yet," he replied. "The book speaks of another place. If its knowledge can help more people, we must find it." The young traveler immediately stepped forward. "I will go with you." The two camel riders smiled. "So will we." The old woman carefully wrapped the ancient book in soft cloth. "My grandfather always believed someone would finish this journey. Take it. It belongs with you now." Hassan accepted the book with respect. "I promise I will protect it." The next morning, the small expedition left the tribe. Everyone waved goodbye. The journey toward the Great Red Dunes had begun. For 3 days they traveled across the open desert. The weather remained calm. At night, Hassan guided them using the stars described in the ancient book. During the day, they rested whenever the sun became too fierce. On the 4th afternoon, the color of the sand slowly began to change. Golden dunes became orange. Orange dunes became deep red. The traveler stopped in amazement. "I've never seen sand like this." The camel rider nodded. "These are the Great Red Dunes. They stretch farther than anyone knows." As evening approached, they climbed the tallest dune. From its peak, they could see a sea of red sand reaching the horizon. The view was breathtaking. But Hassan noticed something strange. In the distance, a thin column of black smoke rose into the sky. "Someone is out there," he said. The group quickly moved toward it. After nearly an hour, they found the remains of a small camp. Several tents had been burned. Broken tools lay scattered across the ground. No people. No camels. Only silence. The traveler knelt beside the ashes. "This happened recently." Hassan examined footprints in the sand. There were many people here. They didn't leave peacefully. Just then, one of the camel riders called out, "I found someone." Hidden behind a fallen tent lay an elderly man. He was weak, but alive. They carefully gave him water. After several minutes, he slowly opened his eyes. "You," he whispered, "you must leave. The Guardians are coming." "The Guardians?" Hassan asked. The old man's face filled with fear. "They protect the City of Mirrors. They allow no stranger to enter. The city has remained hidden for centuries." "The book?" He looked at the ancient book in Hassan's hands. "They will know you carry it." Before Hassan could ask another question, the ground began to shake. Far across the dunes, 5 riders appeared. Each wore black robes that covered their faces. They rode enormous white camels. Long spears glittered beneath the setting sun. The leader raised one hand. The riders stopped together. Even from a great distance, they were watching Hassan, waiting. The old man whispered with his last strength, "They have found you." The wind grew stronger. The red sand swirled around the mysterious riders. Hassan tightened his grip on the ancient book. He realized that finding the hidden well had only opened the door to a far greater mystery. And now, the journey to the legendary City of Mirrors was about to begin. This is the place where you will learn English step by step. If you enjoyed this story and want to improve your English every day, please subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next lesson.